Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good evening and welcome to Car Wax. I'm Michael, your Bougie Black Brother. And here on this 70-degree day, I'm here with my partner in crime, the Bougie Brother Sean. What up, Sean?
Woody, son. How you feeling today, Pops?
Hey, just chilling, kicking it easy. I was riding with the windows fucking open, people looking over there say, what you bumping today? So I had one that was on, but the other I had to fucking cut off. But I like for you to introduce that one to you because it's odd. Our one for today is Juicewrld and the baby. So I know I was the one leaning towards saying, wow, I was so glad to hear this guy Juicewrld when he was with Future. And I was like, oh, I can't look forward to hearing him. And then you said, listen to his one on his own. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. But he was just so hot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I heard his solo shit previous. Then I was like, okay, he kind of changed up. All right. So I wonder what he's going to be like on the new release. So the new Juicewrld, what's the name of this shit? I just had it up.
Race, what is it? Death Race of Love. Death Race for Love? Is that what it is?
I don't know what the fuck. So it was just kind of weird for me. And I was kind of like, oh, let me hear some samples because when you say, hey, Juicewrld coming up, and I was like, yeah, I heard a sample. I wasn't that impressed, but I definitely want to hear the whole thing, Death Race for Love. Yep. And I was like, good. As soon as it's out, I could just jump right on it. So let me, I'm already talking.
Yeah. You seem really excited about telling me what you feel about this one.
I kind of am, right? So I heard a couple, I looked at the tracks and I was like, oh, okay. Damn, he went kind of long. He had a couple of features, Young Thug on there, some motherfuckers I don't know, Brent Faiyaz and Clever. But that was it. He really looked like he was going to hold it down. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, he's got some confidence. Somebody said, just go on with it. And, what made it more interesting, too, it wasn't those little short snippets. It wasn't like 1 minute, 2 minutes. He had some couple of 2 minutes, but he had some that was in the mid threes, 4 minutes, mid threes, a couple of twos, but he had some long depth in what he was trying to do. And I was like, okay, all right, so let me start listening. And it started sounding like, who the hell is this other cat? But, the person who done it the best was XXXTentacion. Because he did it so fucking well. And everyone else tried to do something like that and had all of this screaming, and I was like, damn, this is fucking killing me. And so I started listening through it and it kept on. Then he tried a little rock thing. And, I gave you the peace sign on the actual, on the text. And I say, hey, peace sign to Juicewrld. Actually, I wasn't saying peace. It was only 2 cuts that I could tolerate on this.
Oh, wow.
I was highly disappointed in this. And I shouldn't have been because, to your point, who is he? What he was not what he was with Future. That's not what he is. What he was with Future was, let me run with Future because I admire this guy. He's taking me under the wings. I'm going to do something with him. As opposed to let me do my thing that I'm used to doing. Because again, I heard his first, that release prior to that. And I was like, I don't like that. I hope he doesn't do that shit again. But to my dismay, he did it again. So, and forgive me for this, but there's nothing that I can pull out of this. I'm not going to quote you any song that I say, you know what, but the ring ring with such. No, there's nothing on here. I tried twice. So, Sean, I'm serious. I tried twice. I just couldn't stomach it, man. This was, And then the people was like, "Yeah, it's gonna go to #1 with his," and I was like, "Fucking why?" This was very, very disappointing to me. And it shouldn't be because, like I said, I should have known what this shit was gonna be like.
Right. He was giving it to you from the jump. Like,
So, and
like,
maybe it's a
what
matter
was
of
it?
taste. Maybe it's a matter of taste.
The Sting, the whole Sting sample is this whole album on, you know, plus 20 more tracks. You know, so.
And it made it worse because it was 20-something tracks too. Because you had to, if you really wanted to give the whole album respect, to say maybe he was doing some stuff on the beginning on the back end. So I had to be patient too.
Right.
But I was suffering, dog.
So yeah, so that was the whole thing when you shot me the text. When you shot me the text and you was like, yeah, I listened to some samples of it. I was like, so my first thought was like, okay, because I listened to it when I told you that.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so Pop might think this is whack. So let me tell him to at least listen to the whole thing so we can at least put it as a nominee.
Okay.
For a whack album. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, let me at least tell him to listen to the whole thing. And, you know, to give it that respect of saying, yeah, it was as whack as I thought.
Hold on. You got to say that again, dude. So you said you wanted me to listen to it so we can nominate it for the most whack album.
Yeah, that was because when because you listened to the samples, you was like, man, I'm not finna listen to this. And I was like, well, last year, you know, we really didn't listen to the whack songs together like we listened to it the year before. Because remember, we did the year before because we nominated Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple other ones that we did.
The Eminem. Remember the Eminem?
The Eminem, exactly. We did nominate the Eminem. So I was like, okay, so this might be an opportunity for early nominee.
There you go.
So that's why I was like, hey, go ahead and listen to the rest of it, man. Hey, let me know what you think.
You fucking rolled me right into that.
No, I didn't. Because I didn't, honestly, I usually rate, if I can give you at least a C, because I rate it different on my social media page. So on Bougie Brother Sean, I do review music.
Gotcha.
If I'm not able to give you at least a C-, I'm not gonna rate you. Because you know, I like to do my gentleman's rating, man. You know, I don't like to, you know. And then I especially don't like to do it on a page where I'm like writing how I feel about the album.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to tell you how terrible your album is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, try not to, right?
Yeah, like, but some people deserve it. You know, but. So I was like, all right, let me listen to it again. So I listened to it the first time, and you're absolutely right. The lane that he went was even more on the pop than the rock side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he tried to make the pop rock sound good, but then he like splashed a lot of this overseas pop sound on it. And it was like, okay, let me kind of just bear with it.
Right.
You know, and so I kind of heard him try to. That's the new sound.
Like, sadly.
And I had to kind of give it that. Like, okay, Sean, you have to accept this as the new sound for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, because these guys are making a lot of money and they're not really aiming it at us. It's the young white teens, it's the young white poppy people that listen to this music. It's not really the rap sound, but that's fine because in the streaming era, that's where you make all your money.
So let me back you up because I need you to answer this for me. So you grew up, and I made sure you heard so many different aspects of hip hop, even growing up, and then even as you got older. You gravitated toward things that you kind of like, and you said, you know what, I'm going to show my dad some things that he's not really respecting, and you did that. But are you truly saying because it's popular, I have to give it some respect? Because there's too much music out here to actually give respect to some shit that's really not that good.
Right. Well, I'm not giving it that much respect.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
Don't,
All right.
yeah.
All right, all right.
Don't give it. Don't put it on the top of the hill yet. Now,
All right.
I'm
all
just
right.
kind of, trying to get to where I'm trying to get to.
No.
So
Okay.
it's just, it's a lane. I'm, it's not the fast lane.
Right. But
not
it's
even
a
the speeding lane.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's actually the handicap lane.
Damn. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But they're getting off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a lane, bro. So for me, I'm looking at it like, all right. Because when my nieces present me with this music,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to just, dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. I got nieces and nephews, and I be like, what y'all listening to? Let me hear what y'all listening to. And they're like, they bringing Post Malone and the Swag Lee Spider-Man song to me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what is this?
But that was okay.
But that was okay. But
Yeah.
then you're giving me this lucid dreams before this comes out, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird, but I can't automatically dismiss it. I'm listening to the whole album and I'm just like, hey, I listened to the whole album. They're like, well, I didn't. I just listened to that song. And I'm just like,
Okay.
Well, you just like the song? Well, he's trash. Why do you like the song? You know what I'm saying?
That's the only one. You're like, damn.
So I still kind of gotta give it a lane because I have to give that sound a chance.
Right.
Because when something else comes or they present something else, I can hear that sound. Oh, that's that sound from, oh, wow, well, that sounds like Juicewrld. Yeah, it does, but it's not really Juicewrld. It's blah, blah, blah. So it's okay. Not only am I relating to them, I'm trying to get the ear on the upcoming sound, the new sound coming in.
I got you.
With that being said, there was entirely way too many tracks on here. Because he tried to give you everything, but you could have done it in less tracks.
Yep.
Personally, but you didn't have a specific theme. Because again, you was rapping here, you was rapping there, and then you was on some real love shit. But then you was on some real, man. I'm just in pain, man. I'm doing these drugs, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a lot of pain. So you had 3 different angles with 3 different sounds. There was even one song, and I can pick out a couple songs. So one song that really caught my ear was Emotions. Emotions was good. Yes. Hear Me Calling was cool. Big was good, because that was that rap. Doing it big. So that was cool. Because it took me away from that old singing pain. You know what I'm saying? So I see kind of why he was sprinkling the rap in it to kind of offset what he was doing. And also, he's not used to making like full albums. He used to just throwing little 7-6 tracks around. So it definitely felt like he put 3 of his 7 tracks all in one. Who Shot Cupid was cool. But actually my favorite song was The Bee's Knees. The Bee's Knees actually had 2 tracks on it.
Okay.
The beginning of it, he was rapping, and in the end of it, he was kind of singing, but he had a little message in there. But you had to get all the way to 16 to kind of get it if you didn't already numb out. And was like, oh man, this shit here. So On God with Young Thug was a good track. Surprisingly. Young Thug has been a lot of different places too.
Yeah.
He's been a lot of different
making
places,
his rounds.
man.
He's making his rounds.
Can't sleep on him, man. Cannot sleep on the features he's been doing. And then I would say Rider. It's probably the last track that I kind of enjoyed other than all the other ones. Maze was cool. But again, like you said, he was doing a lot of yelling. And which made me understand, yeah, he's trying to do the rock thing, but then he got to, again, it was just offsetting because he was doing the pop thing at the same time. So it was like, it wasn't Foo Fighters, but then it wasn't like Backstreet Boys, but it was like a mixture. then he was it was just crazy, dog. It was too much. It was actually too much. It was entirely too much. If he would have reduced this down to 10 tracks and found 2 themes instead of 3. So if he would have took the rap and took the rock, or took the rap, no, if he would have took the rap and took the pop with the singing and my girlfriend and I love my girl, if he would have took those 2, this would have really been good. But he threw too much in there, and then like it was just too much. It was just too much, man. And I blame it on him just getting his little money up, you know, and him not really knowing what the hell he doing.
But again, I think you're right. It's because that's what's popular and they want to hear it. So if they want to hear it, then why wouldn't he continue to do it? That's probably why he threw so much shit on there. You know what I mean? Because they was kind of like, oh, do another one like this. And he just kept going and kept going and kept going. And he wound up with 22 fucking tracks. Yeah. And you're like, really, dude? Did you really have to do 22 tracks of miscellaneous shit all over the place?
Yeah, there you go. Straight random.
Yeah, and that's what this... And again, a matter of taste. If you would have shortened it up, I would have probably been able to dissect some of it and say, you know what, and these are the 3 tracks that I see what he was trying to do and blah, blah. But it was so much and it was overwhelming. So once it started, it just fucking gave me a headache. And then I kind of had to turn it down a little bit because he was like, damn, he's just screaming like a motherfucker. And then when you think he's getting hyped with something, then you realize he ain't talking about shit, but the same thing again. And it was just disturbing to me. But you're right. It's definitely on my fucking list. So,
he was going through it. He was definitely bleeding a lot of his pain on the CD. It was just, I wouldn't even blame it on the track arrangement. I was just, it was just a lot. No. You know, like you said, man, it was just a lot. And then a lot of tracks were repetitive. Mm-hmm. You know, that is a very good point. I would have to say that. You know, when you get down to the other songs down on the end, it's like, was that really necessary when we heard 4 more of these earlier?
And here it is again. Yep, under another name. Yeah.
Yeah, dog. So it was it wasn't a disappointment. You know, again, this isn't my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. You know, but he can rap. When he was rapping, it was like, okay, this is cool. Why don't you just stick with this? You know what I'm saying?
But again, I think it's but you said this, and I totally agree with you. It's the lane that they want him in, and if somebody is saying keep it up, he's probably going to keep it up. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of like, oh, you like it? All right, I could do some of this shit. Hey, I'm drinking, I'm on drugs. I hate her. I love that. Man, come on, really?
You a fool.
But I'm just saying. But I know he has some skills. That bothers me too. When you see a person who has some skills and they kind of settle for some shit because people want them to do it, that's disappointing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what, man? Real quick side note. I want to bring this back up. You said the same thing with 21 Savage, man. I remember saying that about somebody else, but how do you feel about his new project and the content he put on his new project?
21?
Yes.
Oh, he was okay, cause he has a sound. What I come to accept from him is he has a sound. He has a way that he raps that if you hear anybody else, you know they'll be copying him. So he made himself unique. He's not copying anyone. It's a little unorthodox, but it's his. And sometimes you have to respect that when he can make it work. So
what about the sprinkling of content? Because he got locked up for it. You know, but how do you feel about, or did that even stand out, or did you hear it on this new project?
No, I didn't hear it as much because I'm kind of rolling with his rhythm.
Okay,
as
more
opposed
than his
to
content.
his content. But you know, the more you listen, then you'll pick up his content because I saw him in concert and where the cops kind of singled him out of, announcing some shit. And then when you hear him, you kind of be like, I get it. But I think he has good content, but he has a rhythm that makes you have to focus on him. You know what I mean? There's people that has a rhythm that you just follow their tone and a rhythm and you're fine with it. And then there's people who say shit that you stamp and you listening to what the hell they saying. Like a J. Cole. He has a great voice, but you slowing down because you really want to hear what he got to say.
So out of these 3 or 4 sounds that we heard on Juicewrld, do you feel like one of these can be his stamp, his brand?
Yes, I think he's still leaning toward the popular emo screaming, maybe my life is dark and people gravitate toward that. I think he's leaning toward that, but I think he has a better sound that he shows that he can do. You know what I mean?
You think he can choose a better sound?
Yes.
And you think he has a better sound?
Oh, no,
that
he has it. He just, to your point, I don't think he used it though.
Okay.
I don't think he wants to use it, or I don't think they want him to lean on that. I think his team or his group wants him to stick in that lane that he's in. And even though he keeps going off of that, the lane that they want him in is that emo shit. That it just sounds ridiculous, but again, it's popular. But if you do it well, it'll be lasting just for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I really feel there's a couple of people who does it pretty well. I mean, Post Malone does a good job with it. I give him credit. He does. Okay. I don't have to listen to him, but he does a good job. Extension was the best because he's the one who made me really say, wow, you hear this shit? Is this really, remember we talked about it. Is this really hip hop? But I really like how he's doing this. And he did it very well. And there's just artists that can do this. I think he got popularity by it, but he's leaning too hard on something that he's better at another portion of his style other than the one that he's putting up front.
Okay. All right. I can feel you. The single that came out was Robbery. She told me put my heart in a bag and nobody gets hurt. So that's like you said, to your point, man. I mean, that's just man. I just think even that he can do better at. I think once he gets like the whole feel of just that sound, I think he's gonna sound so much better in like 3 years if he chooses to stick with it.
Okay.
I think he's gonna find the proper melody, the proper tone to use, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna be like, wow, he was trash 2 years ago. But this is sounding much better.
I think you made a point, and I don't want you to miss it, so I want to jump in really, really quick. I think maybe, because if you listen to this whole production here, maybe he needs a better producer. So when he's actually doing that, they was like, not that sound.
Okay.
This sound.
Okay.
Maybe he needs somebody who sit there and be like, dude, you are so talented. You don't have to do this right here. This goes well with this. Let me let you hear it back. I think if he needs, who did we say? It was another artist that we said he need to sit down with a kind of an old head, a good producer guy that would say, let me fashion the music to what you really are, not what you're trying to do. Because I think his production was just anything with everything that he did.
Production, yeah. And you're right, because there wasn't really nothing that stood out. Mm-mm. Like I said, man, it was a lot more poppy than anything, man. It feels like I ain't gonna say he shortened himself, but he just can't afford the proper producers.
Yeah. And he gave them what they wanted. Mm-hmm. But again, I still think he has talent. It's just that if you structure him it's going to be exactly what you just said. You'd be like, damn, he came out with this is the shit right here. He should have been did that. This just not maybe what he can do based on the people that he's with. You know what I mean? He probably can be a lot better. You get a great producer. Or if he went the pop route and say, we doing pop, but if you're going to do pop, you can't do pop like this because this sounds stupid. This sounds like you trying to be rap, but you doing pop. Well, it sounds like you're rap, but you're trying to do pop. Let's stick to this right here that is a popish rap, and that's just what it sounds like. But I think he tried it all and just threw it on there and made a hodgepodge of bullshit. And to your point, there's people that's just listening to the single that they hear as opposed to saying, oh, let me see what else that he got.
Right.
I don't think they care about what else he got.
It's not that. Right. And that's the catch about these days. They'll listen to a song and they're satisfied with that. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, okay, well, whatever you're ready to give me to listen to next, I'll like that next. But I don't care about his album. Well, why?
You're like, God damn, but I thought you liked him. No.
Like, right. Like, what? How do you listen to music? Oh, well, I just put on a playlist. Oh, well, I just put on Pandora. What? Yeah. Well, do you know who you're listening to? Sometimes I don't. What? No, that's not how you listen to music. You know,
that's how I listen to music.
You should know at least some of the people that you're listening to. You shouldn't just random and be like, hey, yeah, there's this guy. Mm-hmm. Nah, man. So, all right. So, what do you rate this album?
A 4.5.
Ooh, wow.
And that's generous because I never want to hear it again, ever. And if I hear it somewhere, I'm gonna say, "Who the fuck is that?" Oh, that's that Juicewrld. I was like, "Oh, that's that bullshit." Okay, all right.
He's stupid.
But no, I never want to hear this again. I want to hear if someone puts their hands on him, how better he can be, or strip out all of these 20 cuts and say, let's clean up the next one. You don't need that much, bruh. Let's get you the most cleanest, tightest production with what you can do. But this one, you might as well let this go. Even though you're getting paid. You want the next album. You don't want this album. You want the next one.
That's tough. So,
sorry.
All right. So for me, yeah, man, I think we're going to start with the production, man. I don't think he lyrically was bad, but to your point, I think he doesn't know how to change his rap voice to a pop voice. So that took away from the creativity, or that took away from the songs.
Mm-hmm. So and the quality and
oh man, you rated it a 4. That's crazy.
4.5.
All right, man. I'm gonna give it a 6.2.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give it a 6.2, man.
Okay. Because
just the fact that he got an Interscope deal and he could actually get it done. You know what I'm saying? I listened to the CD about 5 times, maybe 6 times.
Okay.
All the way through until I was just like, okay, all right, because I was just like, okay, I see what you're doing, but I'm not a fan of it. But let me just listen to it to make sure it is what it is. And it is. It's not a pop album. You can't sell it as a pop album.
Nope, you can't.
You know, but when you put it in the rap lane, you're like, oh man, this ain't rap, bruh.
But not in a good way though. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the problem. I mean, you said exactly what we kind of said with Extension. Because is this really rap? Well, but he was kind of, is it pop? Is it, I don't know. But man, it's a good feel to this. There's nothing that felt good about this shit, man. It was music that people will listen to.
Right.
You know, we're going to do a one on Smith & Wesson, and I kind of felt the same way with that, but in a different way. Because there's music that's being played, and then there's music that you can go, yeah, Gotcha. But it's not moving you because there's so much out right now that you have such great options. He's not in this. He's just really not in an option for me even to say, listen to this guy. He's just not.
I can respect that. I respect that.
But I respect your 6 because you did listen a little more than I did. So
yeah, and then off of the Future that debut or duo, that was a little disappointing. But I know what he's capable of. Like you said, man, I know what he can do, and I know what this was. This clearly was a record label album. I wonder if he's going to continue down this lane. That's my question.
So if it sells, don't you think? Tyler Perry keeps wearing a dress. That shit sells.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous, but it sells. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm gonna check on the first week sales. Trust me. And once them bad boys come out.
Because, it was expected to do well. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you look at even the Future Juicewrld collaboration, that really did well.
Right, exactly. So there was some high expectations for this.
And for me, I was one of the ones touting that, I really, really like that, how they did it together. I really respected that Future brought this kid along and he complimented this guy. And I was like, wow, now let's see what he does on his own. Let's see how Future actually jump-started this guy. And he comes with this and I'm like, fuck, dude. Damn.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
All right, man. We got to stop bashing him, man.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's I'm sticking with that. I can't raise it, dude. But I will give you the respect with that what you said 625.
Yeah, 6'2", 6'2".
Yeah, I give you that respect because you gave it a little more time. I can't give it any more time. So it's on the bottom of my list right now. If I point at anything that I was listening to all year that I didn't like, this is the one that I'll keep down at the bottom. This will be my number one. Because
here's the catch.
Go ahead.
They said projections. He's possibly earning 150 units. 150,000.
Yeah, 150,000. Yeah, that's what I read. And they was like, from the single and the anticipation and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, and that was one of the reasons why I was like, did I hear this shit right? Let me hear it one more time. And I was like, no, I did not. So
it's a lot of young teenagers that are in pain or feel like their parents don't like them, don't understand. So
they relate.
This is really for that era.
Yeah, so they can have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they good to have it on their own, so I'm good. Anywho, so turn in next time when we jump into the North Carolina native, The Baby, where we get some better quality music in. Thanks. See you next week.